big news. You were very interested in this as well. Raw, WWE Raw is moving to Netflix in 2025. So, in a 10-year deal, which is actually 5 or 10 or 20 years, I'll explain more about that later. WWE Raw is moving to Netflix in a $500 million a year, $5 billion agreement that will not only see Raw move to Netflix in the States, but all WWE programming outside of the US, so that's UK, Canada, Latin America, Australia, Middle East, etc., is also going to be moving to Netflix as well. That includes SmackDown, that includes NXT, and that includes the premium live events. That they're all migrating internationally to Netflix, but in the US it will only be Raw. So, I've got tons of bump to say about it, but for now, what do you think of this deal?
Well, I've never heard of it before, but it's a great, great deal for WWE. You know, when you talk about $500 million a year, now what's their best offer from Fox or another outlet in the U.S.? It was only like $270 million a year, right?
I think
that's their best one.
Yeah, I think so. I'll get the exact number, but it was around the $280 million a year. Yeah, and that's for USA Network is buying the rights back from Fox, not from Fox, but they're buying SmackDown.
Okay, $500 million a year. To me, unbelievable. It really is. And now this came about with their merger with. Who did they merge with?
UFC,
TKO.
Into TKO, yeah.
They merged with them, and it's working out. It really is. It's almost like, it's the perfect storm. All of a sudden, they merge with this company, and their TV creative gets a kick in the butt. And their show is not boring to watch. It's a lot like it was now, I'll say, back in the glory years, back in the early 2000s, when they had that really, really good TV. It was almost, they even coined the phrase like can't miss TV, because they had some really, really good stuff. They had a lot of talents over. And it's almost like today they have a lot of talents over, and we'll talk about AEW in a minute, that they have hardly any talents over. A big a gap between them, but I think WWE has hit a winner here. 500 million. You can pay a lot of bills with $500 million.
You can pay a lot of nations' bills with a lot of that.
Yeah, that is, when I read that, I didn't say bullshit. I said, wait a minute, this is almost too good to be true. But then again, you have an increase of 25 million a year over their last biggest deal, which is 275. But a great, great deal for WWE. What did their stock go up? How much did it go up?
Oh, I think it added something like, I don't know if it was 15% or $15. It's come down a little bit now, but it definitely rocketed well over $10 after per share after that.
Do you have any WWE stock?
No, I have no stock. I've got some random, not Bitcoin, but altcoin somewhere. I managed to pick the only altcoin that went down in 2017.
I have some old ticket stuff. That's what I got.
I never invested in stocks. I always invested in property, which was a good thing to do, really, quite frankly.
Oh, yeah, it is. So, because what's that old saying? Property never goes down. It really doesn't.
Safe as houses. What do they say?
Well, when I'm looking at house prices now, I went like, how do people afford a house now? It's what I'm saying.
I'm probably the last generation that could. I'm not sure I could have afforded it. If I'd bought my first house at 19, then I would have had no problem. But other than that, it's so hard to get on the property ladder now.
Too much. I don't know how a guy, a girl, they get married and say they're 23, 24 or whatever. But the house prices now, I don't know what they're making, but they damn sure better have some damn good ass jobs because they want 20% down. You can't pay 20% down on a $700,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
They hadn't had time to save that money, according to how much they're making. But of course, and then raise a family on top of that. Hey, don't get me started.
No, like a young couple, both with jobs here, they couldn't get a one-bedroom bed set in piss flat Tennessee for that. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the mortgage situation these days.
Is that a knock on Tennessee?
No, it wasn't.
Hey, you could get canceled by country music people talking about Tennessee.
Let's forget about that.
But Tennessee is a good example because it is for years and years and years. It's been, one of the cheaper areas and beautiful country.
Hmm.
I love living in Tennessee. But now Tennessee is like, say, Nashville is one of the go-to cities. I don't know why, but it is. It's not because of the music, because of a lot of other stuff. But Austin, Texas, and Nashville are two of they're in the top 10, I think, of the go-to cities.
I'll very quickly say this. Where I live now, if you want a house with like a bit of like farmland around it, you are looking dollars-wise at the minimum $2 million with a few acres around.
Really?
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's really.
Well, I'll buy two then.
You're selling a lot of books then. I didn't realize how many you were selling.
Oh, yeah,
I need to lower your fee. I'm going to let's go back to Raw here. Now, there's a bit of a misnomer that Raw's money has more than doubled. The rights fees for Raw's more than doubled or around doubled. Sorry, just under actually. It used to be $265 million per year on the USA Network. Because all the international rights fees, they are now losing because it's an all-encompassing deal to get all the international rights onto Netflix. So really, WWE are only increasing anywhere between 20 and 32% rather than nearer 45% on the previous deal. So I thought that'd be worth mentioning. Similarly, because I know you've got Netflix, most people have got, well, I say most people, but many, many millions, 260 million people have got Netflix, or 260 million accounts out there.
But they just had a deal about the password.
Yeah.
They only had 30 million, and then they cracked down on the password usage.
No. They increased their subscribership 30 million in the last year since the password sharing crackdown. So it was 230. They've come up to about 260, I think.
Oh, okay. I read it wrong.
Yeah. So So Netflix is very much expanding in that sense. Are you more likely? I know you're not going to watch Raw because it's simply too long. But would you be more likely to watch Raw on Netflix than on a cable channel?
It doesn't matter to me. Still a channel. My problem is finding it because I don't have one of those easy to find systems. I got to look and look and look and go to something else and Fubo and TiVo and this and that and the other. By the time I get there, hell, the show's half over. If I don't start, if it comes on at 8, if I don't start at a quarter till, and that means I'm going to get it 30 minutes in when I finally find it. I'm not technologically talented to even do that. I mean, I can watch the show, appraise the show, talk about the show, but it's finding the show. Somebody needs to have a damn podcast about finding things on the internet now that you can watch. I don't know. Don't get me going again. It's two things you've already got me fired up about. So,
okay. I apologize.
Yep.
Did you? No, not really. The next thing I mentioned at the beginning was 5, 10, or 20 years. Now, it's announced as a 10...
What's that mean? I read that too.
Well, it's announced as a 10-year deal, but Netflix has a get-out clause at 5 years. Or, if they're happy with the results after 10 years, they have a 10-year extension. that they can enact if they want to keep the programming. So we could, in theory, see WWE on Netflix for at least 20 years.
Well, let me say that, say, Netflix likes it, but WWE doesn't. And after 10 years, can Netflix say, oh, we're going 20?
I think they may be able to, yeah. Because keep in mind,
but
in
what
five,
if WWE said, well, we don't want to go another 10?
I feel that
unless
they'd be
we
legally obligated to.
Well, they could be backing them. Well, I don't know. It's hard to back yourself in a hole.
Keep in mind this, Dutch.
500 million a year.
But exactly, 500 million a year. But keep in mind that in the past 5 years, 500 million from 265. That's almost doubled in 5 years. So where are we going to be inflation-wise for rights to television programming in 10 years? I mean, the WWE may end up on the wrong side of this.
Let me check. You're right.
Next, we're still on this, by the way, so people know, Raw, if people are thinking, oh, well, finally it's on Netflix, we don't have to listen to some tedious ratings chat. Apparently, a couple of months ago, Nielsen has struck a deal with Netflix to provide ratings for Netflix, so we're still going to be getting Raw ratings for the foreseeable.
Let me ask you this. Yes. I don't know if you know the answer. Now they have commercial breaks.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to add at least 20 minutes per hour to the show. The way it is now, it's like on an hour show, it's 38 minutes or 40 minutes of live programming, which is wrestling. And the rest of it, 20 minutes or 22, is taken up by commercials. Mm-hmm. Now they got to fill this time. What are they going to do?
Well, they'll probably do the exact same thing because Netflix has now got like several different tiers. Then the cheapest tier is programming with advertising, like television. Yeah. So they can essentially just do programming with advertising for the lowest tiered subscribers. For the mid and high tier subscribers that get, family plans and 4K video and everything, they'll probably just watch the matches. So, when a match goes to commercial like it does now, you'll just see the match, I guess, for the higher tiered subscribers.
Okay, this is the way they used to do it. They used to tell the talent, this is an inside secret. When they go to break, they tell you just to slow down, take a headlock and take them over. People are going to do nothing. And then they say, when we get 30 seconds, and he get up and he says, now start your stuff back. And when you go to break, you'll see a big move, like somebody's out of the ring, sprawled out, and you do a good move, and you sell it all over the place, and then that's when they take it to break. Hey, whatever happened to, what's his name that was the producer? What was his name?
Well, Kevin Dunn.
Whatever happened to him?
He's been shot out of a cannon.
He left, but where'd he go? He just retired?
I think he's just retired. I mean, he may well be worth 9 figures. Like, what are you going to do after that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What do you do? I mean, if you have all the money you're ever going to need in your life, which that'll be you, James, it won't be me, but what do you do?
If you're Kevin Dunn, maybe invest in some dentistry.
Now that was mean. Take it back. Take that back.
I take it back.
Yeah, but I'm saying he doesn't need any money. I don't know. That's a good thing to think about. I think I would get bored. I think I really would.
I've got one more question. I want to know what you think about this. And it's been suggested for a little while. Even Nick Khan, I think a couple of days ago, reacted to this and didn't necessarily say no, is would you move Raw from Monday to, let's say, Tuesday? Because
it's not a bad idea. Yeah, especially
you'll be aware, you're not watching Raw on Monday. What are you watching?
Well, actually, my TV habits have changed since I got a little older. Pro football through the season, I don't give a crap about it. I'll watch it. But me being an avid NFL fan, nah, it's not there anymore. And even my college interest is kind of fading too with the NIL stuff because there's a couple of college players who told the NFL to screw off because they're coming up their senior year. They will make more with the NIL endorsements their senior year in college than they could make in the NFL. I think they have a tier that they can't go over. It's like 400,000, 800,000 or something. I think a guy from USC, what's his name, Caleb something, used to play at Oklahoma. He's going to make like $2 million this year just off endorsements. So yeah, I would go back for my senior year in college. I would go to December and then I'd quit. No more. What do you need a college education when you already got $2 million when you're 21 years old? Unless you blow it, but which can't happen.
You finally have a down payment for a house with $2 million.
And you could pay cash for it. Yeah, and just say screw it. But then they want you for taxes. You know, people forget they get these big these contracts. You never see anybody, yeah, but think about the taxes he's going to pay. Oh, yeah. So give these people the biggest contract you can so they can take at least a third of it for taxes so we can support all the rest of the people in this country. So, hey, don't get me going on that either because I wanted to start maybe – we need to start another podcast where we just talk about social issues and see how much heat we could get.
I think we could get a lot in about 4 minutes. I think it'd be cancelled before it was even on.
I think most people would agree with us.
Oh, yeah, people with a brain would, of course.
So you're saying stupid people would not agree with us?
Exactly is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I kind of agree with that too. But what were we talking about?